Well, good evening, everybody, and hello to Sioux Falls. This is my last listening and learning session as your mayor, and I'm really blessed, thank you, really blessed to be here at Celebrate Church. And Celebrate has been one of those entities that has been praying not only for me, but for our community as a whole and our community leaders, and it really does make a difference. This is a program that I started when I was running for mayor, when I wanted to earn the honor to serve the people of Sioux Falls. I went to a place called the Whiskin Chop, and I started that about a year before the election. And I talked about, I just wanted to learn from people, what are the issues? What are the opportunities? What are their ideas? And then I said, if I did earn the honor to serve, I'd continue doing that. And so I've been doing that every single month now for 8 years. So that's 96 listening learning sessions as your mayor. And then I did it every week when I was trying to be your mayor. So I've really enjoyed these. It's also one of the things I'm going to miss, after I am done being your mayor. There are no questions that are off limits. You can ask me anything, even those tough ones. I know we're in church. I know that. So there may be a hesitancy to ask me a tough question, but also it is part of God's journey. Some of those challenging things that happen in your life, happen in your congregation, happen in your business, and yes, happen in your city. Not everything is just rosy, as Pastor Keith will talk about during his services, and as I tried to talk about as your mayor. I did want to, if you are at all interested, I do want to talk about faith and how faith is part of not only my life, but it's been a real big part of my journey as your mayor. This is a book, it's called Jesus Calling. It's a very simple book, but it's very powerful. And what it does is it basically gives you a daily passage, something that you can kind of infuse into your life at that moment. And as you can tell, I've had some moments where it fit in really nicely to the day or to the challenge or to the opportunity. And so I'd be happy to talk about faith. I'd be happy to talk about family. I'd be happy to talk about my life's journey. I'd love to talk to you about what it's like to be the mayor, and on and on and on. So this is a listening and learning session, so you just don't want to hear me talk. I'd love to hear from you as well. I know we've got a couple of mics that'll be passed around, and so we've got one there, and I don't know if there's another one there. So if you're ready, is anybody ready to ask me questions on anything? Let's go. We'll start. Or Fran, I'll tell you, Fran. I met Fran here tonight. Why don't we start with Fran? Thank you. Here, wait, Fran. Here you go.
Mayor, I know you're not running for governor this year. However, what is in your future? I know you need a little rest, but are you thinking, Mayor? Are you thinking about the gubernatorial? See, after your mayoral?
Well, Fran, thank you for asking. One of the real struggles is that I do set a lot of very high expectations, not only for myself, but for my city and all these things. And I have wanted to be the governor of this great state of South Dakota too. But Cindy and I, we did make an announcement about 6-8 weeks ago where we said we are going to just kind of take a break, take a step back. And I think it's good for us to do that. In fact, not only do I think it's good for us, I know it's good for us. We have put so much into this role, and as much as I think that we've accomplished, one of the things that you learn is that it is it is something that when you want to make changes, when you want to make things better, when you're willing to tackle tough issues, or yes, capture those opportunities, it does take something out of you, as well as you'll find you are going to make some enemies along the way. So before Cindy and I were ready to tackle a 66 county journey, that's how many counties we have in South Dakota, and spend at least a year and a half of our lives trying to earn the honor to become the governor, we thought let's take a break and then just see where life leads us. I'm a planner. You know that. I want to get things done. We did have and still do have a plan, but one of the things that I've been talking to more and more people that I think care about me, maybe even love me, and they want to give me some advice, especially my kitchen cabinet or my advisory team. All but one of them said, Mike, we'd encourage you to take at least a break. Refresh a little bit, re-energize a little bit, refocus a little bit, maybe even talk to God a little bit to find out what is that journey that ultimately is part of the plan. Because I think that sometimes we work so hard to capture that goal or climb that mountain, and then all of a sudden you get there and you're going, now what? So thank you for asking me that. I appreciate it. I will tell you this. I'm going to miss being your mayor. I'm going to miss it. This has been just phenomenal for me. I've loved it. I'm going to miss it, even with the challenges. But also, I am really, really excited for the next step in life, too. I'm a grandpa now. I mean, that changed my life. I'm a grandpa now. My family is nearby. My mom is healthy. My mother-in-law is healthy. I'm healthy. So yeah, it's all good. But thank you for asking me that. Yes, Fran?
Matt Michaels, and see what he has to say about this.
Yes. Well, I will say this. Public service is really hard. It is really hard. I really commend any candidate and their family who's willing to jump into the fray. Whether it be city councilor, whether it be mayor, whether it be U.S. senator, whether it be governor, the amount of work and sacrifice that not only do you put into it, but your family puts into it is just phenomenal. And remember, I've told you this has been a dream I've had since the 6th grade, but it wasn't Cindy's dream, my bride's dream, since the 6th grade. But she's been at my side for 32 years in marriage, 5 years dating, so 37 years she's had to put up with this dream of mine, and so it's been wonderful. So thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank you for you bringing public awareness to our issue with respect to the Big Sioux.
Sure.
And you've done a very admirable job in starting the Water Summit.
Thank you.
On the other hand, you are no longer going to be our mayor here soon.
Yeah.
Where do you see us proceeding from here?
Well, it's one of those topics about the Big Sioux River. I mean, we are so blessed in that we've got a body of water that goes right through the heart of our city. It's our #1 source of drinking water. We've used it to become an economic kind of development entity. We're building high-rises and apartments, and our downtown is vibrant with this water. It's beautiful. It's something that we should be proud of. But sadly, I think what we do as a city, what we do as a state, what we do as a country, we take water for granted here in our great city, and we shouldn't. And so when I was elected mayor, that was one of the things I wanted to tackle. Is I love our Big Sioux River, but it is an impaired body of water. It's impaired. There's issues with it. And so I wanted to bring some attention to that, as well as do some things to help make it better. The folks that get blamed the most for the impurities in the Big Sioux River are farmers and ranchers. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, hey, you know what, we can blame people all day long for issues, but we're all part of the problem and we're all part of the solution, including this big city called Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And so what I did is I said, hey, let's bring some attention to this. Let's hold these river summits. Let's get mayors from all over the area, all along the Big Sioux. Let's get them involved and let's start talking about it. I'll never forget it. One of the very first things that I did at my very first summit, I brought my Scott's fertilizer spreader. And I brought it and I held it up. And I said, your mayor, the mayor in charge of this Big Sioux River Summit, just polluted the Big Sioux River today. And I did. Every time that I fertilize my lawn, I know I can't guarantee that every granule is going to go into the soil. There's a good chance some of those granules are going to flow into the curb, the gutter, and then they're going to go in to the Big Sioux River some way. And so that, again, is one of those things where we're all responsible for the issue, but we're all responsible for the solution, and I ultimately want to take care of it. One of the things that I've gotten in trouble for as your mayor, and I'm really worried that immediately after I'm done being the mayor, that we're going to go back to the old days. And that is, you know, we stopped mowing a lot of that grass along the Big Sioux River. And one of the reasons we did it is, number one, we don't need to do it, but it's a really good filter mechanism for the water before it goes back into the river. You know, we've asked farmers to do it, we've asked ranchers to do it, so why can't big city people like Sioux Falls do it? And so we've stopped mowing it, and then it provides that buffer, that filter strip, and I hope that the next mayor doesn't immediately just go back in and start cutting it all down. But thank you for bringing that to our attention, because we don't talk about that stuff enough, and so I really appreciate it. Thank you. Keep it going. Yes, thank you. We'll go here, and then we'll go there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What do you think of while you're coming to the Celebrate Church to do this, of what this church is about on a political official's perspective and getting out there and mentoring kids and helping out people in prison and the ministries that we're involved with? What's your perspective on that?
Well, not only Celebrate Church, but there's over 200 churches in our city. Over 200. And can you imagine the power? Can you imagine the difference? Can you imagine the stewardship, given your time, your talent, your treasure? Can you imagine what we could do if we got over 200 churches and their congregation, their ministers, their pastors, their priests? Can you imagine what we could do to help solve the challenges of our community if we really rallied together to do that? Celebrate Church, and there's many, many others, and I understand that, but I'm at Celebrate today. I know that's one of Celebrate's missions, is to do more than just have people come in for a Sunday service for 45 minutes and then see ya. I'll see you next Sunday. It's more than that. And that's what we need. Because if we rely on government to fix the challenges that we have in the city of Sioux Falls or the state of South Dakota or our country, if you only rely on government to do it, you don't have a really good chance of really addressing it. And in fact, more and more and more, government's getting less involved, and we're relying on churches. We're relying on nonprofit organizations. We're relying on businesses. We're relying on these other groups to try to help get more and more people some of the answers that they need. And again, I'll go back to give them the faith that they need to address life and life's challenges. You know, I've learned. There's a lot of things that I've tried to control, But as your mayor, there's a lot of stuff you can't control. Who all thought it was going to snow 14 and a half inches yesterday or 2 days ago? No, you just don't know that. Ice storms, sanitary sewer line collapses, buildings that tragically, fall, and these other things that happen. You've got to have faith that there's good out there and good things that I can do, and then if we rally together and celebrate in all the other 200 churches, can you imagine the good stuff that we can do? I enjoy going to events where there's a bunch of ministers and reverends and priests and folks like that. I love that because to me, those people, women and men alike, they're like mini mayors. This is the community called Celebrate. And these ministers, reverends, priests, they are ultimately kind of responsible for you and to rally you, to motivate you, to educate you, to encourage you. And so one of the things that we learn is that there are some things that we say too that people go, why did he say that? I disagree with him, or I disagree with her, or why did we go that way when we should have went that way? And that happens a lot too. But no, churches can make such a dramatic impact, but I would encourage them to do more. These churches, these buildings that we have all over, these 200 plus churches, one of the things that's a reality is that they are so underutilized, the facilities. The facilities. We use them maybe on a Wednesday afternoon or evening, maybe a Saturday, and a Sunday for a couple of hours. And then the rest of the time, what's going on there at some of these churches? And there's these people who want a place to gather, to congregate, to get together and lift each other up and motivate each other, or hold potlucks, or even hold church services. But they don't have that ability to do that because they don't have the money. But what I would want them to do is, why don't you invite them into your church? I don't care if it's Lutheran. I don't care if it's congregational. I don't care if it's Catholic, or I don't care if it's just multi-denominational. I don't care. Why don't we do that more and more? So that was a good question. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. This is great. Good start. Thank you.
Mike, first of all, thanks so much. Your love for the city is very evident, and wanted to thank you for 8 great years of service to this community.
Thank you.
I watch the city council meetings often, and the open mics are very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
And we have some very, I don't know how to phrase it, but interesting people.
Yes.
In this town. I'm not going to ask you who you would vote for of these 2 candidates, but I will ask you, which of the 2 candidates most align with your values, do you think?
And I won't answer that. But what I'll tell you is, here's what I'll say. I won't talk specifically about 1 or 2 of the candidates. I won't do that. But I will give you a flavor for what I would wish for in a mayoral candidate. Maybe I'll do that, okay? First of all, I do hope that they have the community as a whole in mind when they're serving. Because you cannot imagine the special interests that come after you when you're the mayor or the governor or the president or what. It's so hard to tell people no. It's so hard to tell people, well, not yet, because, but you have to do that. You have to focus on the community as a whole. So that's a virtue that I hope that they'll keep, and it's because it's really hard. And I probably lost some friends along the journey because I didn't give everybody just what they wanted. I said, I'm sorry. I don't think it's good for the community as a whole. I do hope that they will care for everybody and I may even make some people mad in this room, but I mean everybody, regardless of their race, their creed, their color, their physical makeup, their mental makeup, their sexual orientation, their religion, how they dress, whatever it would be. I really do believe that, and it's something that my mom taught me in the greatest way, and I just value it. We're all here. God put us all here for a reason, and we're all special, and we're all important, and we can all make a difference. And I don't know why we wouldn't care for everybody. And so I hope that happens. They better have some stamina. This is a beast. It's a beast of a role. I've probably gone at it harder than maybe I even should have, but that is just my style. But it is a beast of a role. One of the things that you learn, and it's hard, is that I want to be liked by everybody. I want to be loved by everybody. And you're not going to be, especially if you're going to get something done. If you want to just go in and manage what's already there, then you probably can have a lot of friends. My style was let's get some things done that have been waiting that have been on the shelf for a long time. Let's address some tough issues, and so they're going to have a willingness to really deal with some of the barbs that come the other way. We just got done with the Easter season. Well, you're never done with the Easter season. Sorry. But at least the celebration of the Easter Sunday. One of the things that it's one of my favorites, and I think that one of the reasons it's one of my favorites is that you do learn that you're going to have to kind of provide that other cheek all the time. Okay, it's part of the deal. It's part of the deal. And okay, there's another hit. There's another spit. There's another barb. And I'm not trying to, portray myself in any way, shape, or form, of course, like our Savior. But there are things where you do have to have that ability to really have a really tough skin or provide that cheek as often as you can, because it's part of the deal. But I know, you know what? Our city is in really good shape in so many different ways. And I just commend these two candidates that are finalists. I do think they've earned the honor to get to this part, to get to this place. And so, we'll see what's going to happen. I do encourage Sioux Falls to vote. That was one of the lowest voter turnouts we've ever had. And I'm going, boy, come on, people. This is your town. This is your future. Why wouldn't you want to get in there and at least say, here's what I believe, and I'm going to make my best guess or my best vote, and I'm going to do it. But thank you. I don't know if I answered that as well as I could have, but that's some of the things that you do have to take into consideration. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks for everything you've done for our city in the last 8 years.
You're welcome.
Our city has changed so much, and so much for the better. For downtown, all the things that you've done, all the changes with cultures, all the things that have been brought into a city that hasn't been here
Thank you.
Through the years, and you've made a big difference.
Thank you.
But I'm gonna ask you just to expound more on your book, Jesus Calling.
Yeah.
I love the book.
Yeah.
I read it often, and I like how it talks about. It's like it's talking directly to me. It's like and lifting me up, making me happier, making me feel like I'm more sound. And maybe you can expound on how it makes you feel and how you have used it through your tenure.
Sure. Well, I think with anything, it's those really challenging times where you need something more to carry you through. And certainly, your family, can help. Your friends can help. Life experiences can help. But it's the faith thing, the faith aspect, this higher calling. You know, why are we here? Why was that done, or how can we get through it? That ultimately has been the one that can get me through. And there's daily passages in here that you can't see them, but I've got things like, okay, I got the best one with an exclamation point, and then I've got problems there. A better life to come with even more love. Here I've got 4 little red stars that I highlighted. Live one day at a time. Here's one. The media. The media. Here, okay. April 20th. The media relentlessly proclaim bad news for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A steady diet of their fare will sicken you, and on and on and on. And I don't want to denigrate the media. I don't want to, but I think that, you know, even the news right now, we're kind of struggling, going, oh, gosh, how come they're not focusing on some of the positive going on in our world? Why is it always kind of a constant drip of negativity? And I think that some media outlets in Sioux Falls, I think they do a better job trying to portray some of those positive things. And yes, I think that maybe some in the media want to do some more negative things, and I don't. I've tried to be a positive person. I want to be positive. I want to be productive. I want to be a coach. I want to uplift people. But that's just my style. I told you about that kitchen cabinet of that advisory team. There were many times in the campaign, both the first one and the second one, where I wanted to go, come on, let's hold them accountable. They're saying things that are just not true, or how are they allowed to do that, or this or that? And my team said, no, just don't go in the gutter, or don't go down in the pit. Just stay up there, stay uplifting, stay positive, and there's plenty of stories in there, or plenty of passages in here about, no, keep your faith in me, stay positive, good things to come, and so much more. And again, I don't know what it is that you want to read to help you, but there are this faith-based journey, this faith that you'll have in your life. It certainly can help you get through some of those trying times. I gave this book as a gift at my daughter's wedding, and it was really, really, a special gift, and I just love it. And you can tell, yeah, I've got a variety of them in here that I use. Being the mayor is really hard at times. We had that 14 and a half inches of snow. And one of the things that you learn is that you're not going to make everybody happy regardless. Well, today, after a weekend of really, your city team was out there working incredible hours while we're sleeping, trying to clear these roads and all these things. And it's really, really a challenging job on their part. But oh boy, you can't imagine some of the really hurtful and mean-spirited things that people will say about whatever it would be. Snow removal, you hit my mailbox, or this or that. And until you're in the arena, you just don't understand how hard it is just to just to do this job. Yeah. So thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Man, my man, Mayor Mike, how are you?
Doing great. Great to see you. my
Good to
friend.
see you again as well.
Thank you.
Terry Liggins, I'm
You bet, Terry.
one of your secret, not so secret admirers. Just love following you around, trying
Thank you,
to
Terry.
hear from you. I know that the last time was at the City Hall meeting. Before that was at a YPN. Before that was at the Downtown Library. I also go to church here at Celebrate, and when I heard that you were going to be coming here for your last Listen and Learn, I moved everything around to make sure that I can be here.
Thank you, Terry.
To challenge you one more time.
Thank you. I love it.
Yes. So I too want to thank you though, Mike, for your leadership. You've inspired so many young professionals. I'm an emerging young professional. You've been an advocate for that in your leadership and in your work. I really appreciate that. So again, I was with Faces Together, now I'm with LSS. So I have a question for you, and it kind of goes back towards what we had over here with kind of our political race. Because again, I can ask you something personal, but I've already gained so much from you personally. This is really trying to inform myself with kind of some advice or from your perspective and kind of how it would be good for the greater whole. So as I'm looking at our candidates and I'm trying to understand, who has my best interest in mind and who I should suggest people vote for, and et cetera, I think for me, I lean more towards this solution focus that I'm hearing out of Jolene's camp, I should say, versus this tough on crime thing that I hear out of Tan Hankins. Again, I'm more of a compassionate addiction management guy, but I really want to know what you think about Jolene's solutions of precinct policing and micro buses. Are those realistic? Am I buying into something that is not very realistic or really a good suggestion? Like not endorsing one or another, but are those good ideas? Do you think those are good ideas?
And again, I'm going to ask you, I don't really want to talk about specific candidates or their platforms, but I'll try to be more generic in terms of some of the things that I think that we can do to address, or that we have done to address some of these things, such as crime, okay? You are going to have campaign rhetoric. You are. And I get that. I've run 2 campaigns. You're trying to find a way to get people to pay attention to you so that ultimately maybe they'll listen to you and then ultimately they'll vote for you. So I understand campaign rhetoric. I understand the importance of it. But Terry, let me just give you some perspective on crime in Sioux Falls and some of the things that we have done to address it, or some of the things that we still should do. Crime certainly is in the news all the time. It's kind of the wave of, now with social media, it's always there. And yes, crime as you grow as a city, and we've added the city of Aberdeen onto Sioux Falls in only 8 years. Let me repeat that. I've been your mayor for only 8 years. And we've added the city the size of Aberdeen, South Dakota, onto Sioux Falls in only 8 years. Okay, that just kind of gives you a perspective of how fast we're growing. 4,000 to 5,000 people a year, Terry, we're adding onto the city. And not everybody's a good neighbor, okay? There's some people who either through, they're bad people or they do bad stuff. They cause some issues. But here's the reality. Crime is committed really because of a couple things. One is alcohol, another is drugs, and yes, sometimes you have folks that have some mental illness issues or some other challenges like that. We haven't found a cure for alcohol or alcoholism or people doing dumb stuff when they drink too much. We've not found a cure for, drugs. We've been battling that as a society for a long, long time. And it's sadly, when it comes to mental illness, instead of us putting more resources towards it, we're actually cutting back on those resources and then relying on kind of the community as a whole to work through that. So Terry, some of the things that we've done is we started neighborhood policing a long, long time ago. What I mean by that is now we take our women and men of police and we actually put them in specific neighborhoods so that they get to know the neighbors, get to know the good people and the bad people. get to know the issues and the opportunities. We've been doing that in Sioux Falls for a while. We do stay one step ahead of the crime. We are hiring officers faster than any other employee by far. And as our city has grown, we've hired police officers to grow with it. But the biggest issue that we face in Sioux Falls and South Dakota and America when it comes to crime, anybody want to take a guess what that biggest issue is? Which drug? Meth. Methamphetamine. It is a drug like no other in that once you do it, you can't replicate the high the second time, the third time. And then what happens is that these meth users, they get so hooked so fast and so deeply that first they steal from their family, then they steal from their neighbors, unlock cars, unlock doors. Then what they do is sort of get so then they start busting into casinos, liquor stores, and then they just get worse and worse and worse. This is happening all over our great country, this meth. And so, I don't want to tell you one campaign is better than another, but as a society, there is no quick fix. But meth-infused, opioid-infused crime is certainly the biggest challenge that we face when it comes to crime. And so, trying to, please talk to your family, talk to your friends, tell them, stay away from this drug. And then once somebody is even starting, get them some help immediately. But even there, getting help for drug addictions, alcohol addictions, mental illness, it's really, really hard to come by. It is. So, Terry, sorry, I'm not going to go into the specific things that these two candidates have talked about, but I will tell you this. I think that the women and men of our police team, I think they are really doing an incredible job. And that's one thing, too. If you do decide to do a crime in Sioux Falls, we catch you. We catch you. Yeah, our rate of catching somebody after they do a crime is very, very good. But sadly, then what do? You throw them in jail, and I'm not a huge fan of just throwing everybody into jail either. But it's one of the hardest things that you do. But as mayor, it's also your most important thing. Most important thing you focus on is keeping your people safe. That is the number one goal as your mayor. And that's why even these things like the snowstorm this weekend, it was hard for this mayor to say, we're going to put out a no travel advisory. We're 183,200 people. And the mayor said, don't want you traveling. What? Mayor? But no, that was real. Our first priority is keeping you safe. So please just hunker down, stay in your homes for 24 hours. We'll get through this. Talk to your kids. Put on some get some popcorn going like we used to do. And then we'll get you back out going the next day. So Terry, thank you. And I thank you for voting. And I thank you for being a young professional. And I thank you for, being engaged. That's one of having you folks here, this is one of the biggest listening and learning sessions I've done in a long time. Having you here engaged in your city is huge. Because most people, they don't. They don't want to be engaged. They're worried about, their families, their jobs, doing this, doing that. And I respect that. But this is your community, just like this is your church. That you own it. You can make a difference in it. You can encourage them to do more. You can reach higher. You can do greater things, and that's what we've done in Sioux Falls. And whether it's Jolene or Paul, I think there is a momentum to keep it going, keep good things going, and I'll be cheering them on. I will be cheering. I love this town, and I'm going to miss it. I'm not moving, but I'm gonna miss being there, kind of cheering it on and inspiring it. But hey, I'm not the only one who's cheering it on. I'll tell you a really quick story, really quick one. It involves snow, Terry. Also, about, I don't know what it was, 3 years ago, maybe it was about I can't even remember. We had one of the monster snowstorms in America going on in Sioux Falls. It was a monster. And all of a sudden, one of the national news networks, they sent one of their big people here. And they were down, they were doing 5:30 news, live, from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the storm of the century, and they're here. And snow's blowing, wind, oh my gosh, all that stuff. They did an interview with a gentleman here in Sioux Falls. Big guy, big red beard. He's a postal carrier. And all of a sudden, the guy goes, so, you're a postal carrier here in Sioux Falls. The wind is blowing, the snow is going into his beard, And all of a sudden, the guy goes, so, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I moved here from San Diego, California. You can only imagine what that, big city news reporter asked next. I'll bet you would rather be in San Diego than Sioux Falls, right? Or something like that. And this gentleman, his name is Donald Shea. He's a postal carrier in downtown Sioux Falls. He looks at the reporter and says, no. There's no place I'd rather be than Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Because I love it here. And Cindy and I are on our couch. We're high-fiving each other. I'm going, honey, did you just see that? National news. And I got this postal carrier with a big red beard in a snowstorm from San Diego, California, telling the world, no, I'd rather be in Sioux Falls than San Diego, California, anytime. That's what I mean, folks. Why not take a negative situation and find the best in it? Why do we let these negative things sometimes bring us down when it's a great opportunity to encourage others to look at the positive? Look at the positive. When I met with the media on Friday morning before the snowstorm came, what I did is I ended it with this. I said, you know what? Let's look at the positive with this snow. The positive is that we've got farmers and we've got ranchers all over South Dakota that are just so thankful to God that we're getting moisture. We had so much drought last year. We're in the drought still today. So why not look at this as, hey, yeah, it's an inconvenience, but it's moisture that we so desperately needed. So yeah, Donald Shea, he's cheering us on. Mayor Mike, he's cheering us on. And all of you right now, thank you. Cheer you on. I love it. So thank you. I don't know why I did that story. This is my last one. I'm going out just full guns ablaze. I love it. Thank you. Others, thank you. Anything, please. Yes, thank you.
What are you going to do with the last time the last time when you're not, if you're not there, what are you going to do? You're going to go on a vacation, or are you going to be here in town?
Wow. Help me with your first name. Danny. Well, Danny, first of all, thanks for caring for me. Thanks for caring. I appreciate it, Danny. Danny said, all right, Mayor Mike, so what are you going to do when you're not done being the mayor? Danny, here's what I'm going to do. Cindy and I, we are going to take a little break. We're going to go on a little trip, about 2 weeks, and we're just going to kind of get away a little bit. I'm going to go visit college roommate and his wife. We're going to go a couple days to a place and just kind of hide. I'm going to run a half marathon in Ann Arbor, Michigan on May 20th. So on May 20th, that's a Sunday. On May 20th, tell Pastor Keith, hey, just a quick prayer for Mayor Mike. He's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He's running a half marathon in Ann Arbor. But this is interesting. This will be interesting in that For the first time in my ultra-competitive life, my goal is to run that Ann Arbor, Michigan half marathon and not care about my time. I just actually want to just run it and just enjoy it.
Don't forget about us when we are done not thinking, don't forget about me when I'm thinking of you.
Thank you. I'll tell you what, I'll think of you when I'm running that half marathon. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do some other things and just kind of get away for a little bit. But then I want to come back and I want to tackle some things on my magic list, personal things, professional things, and then yes, I do want to get into public service again someday, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what the plan is ultimately, but we'll see. And so thank you for asking about me. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, because I was just wondering about that, because I was wondering how you would think about our curves on the roads and stuff. I don't know how you would feel about fixing the roads, but we need more cutouts on the roads.
I don't know if you heard that. That's perfect. Some of the things that water we take for granted. Getting from our home to the store, we take for granted. But this gentleman, he just said, Mayor, what about these curb cuts? We need more curb cuts. A curb cut, what that is that allows you, if you're in a wheelchair, if you're blind or disabled in some way, it allows you to get from that side of the street to that side of the street effectively and safely. And there are still areas in our town where we need more curb cuts. And so we've really tackled it in a strong way, but there's still more work that needs to be done. And what's so interesting is that sometimes as people, we only care about what we care about or what impacts us. And these other things that impact this young man or impact this young lady or impact this person or that person, well, we don't care about that. So don't spend any money on that because it doesn't impact me. That's, again, one of the hardest things that you do in public service. And remember, it kind of goes back to that question. And that is, I think as long as they make their decisions on the community as a whole, with these limited dollars we have, these limited resources that we have, this limited time that we have, I think that ultimately we'll have a much better city. And again, remember, you're caring for everybody, regardless of their race, their creed, their color, their sexual orientation, their physical capabilities, their mental capabilities, whatever it would be. Yeah, good job. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Go there and then we'll go back there. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for your service as mayor, but you kind of answered my question earlier, but as a mayor, what do you do to attract big business to Sioux Falls?
Yeah.
Or could Sioux Falls handle a big business like an employer like Amazon come to town? Could Sioux Falls handle them if they'd want to move here?
That's an excellent question. We are always, as a community, and yes, as a state, we are working to attract new employers into our area. We are. We're always working on that. And we've made good progress in terms of getting more and more employers to look at Sioux Falls and South Dakota over the years. However, Amazon, for example, Mayor, how come you didn't apply for that? Well, one of the reasons is that one of our greatest challenges right now is workforce. Workforce. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in America right now at about 3.4%, okay? Very, very low. And so big employers, when they come here, they want to make sure that there's a ready supply of workers, okay? Now, I think Sioux Falls and South Dakota, we've got an incredible workforce, okay? But we need more workers. We do. We've got businesses in town that want to grow. They want to add more people to their business, and they can't find enough workers to do it. So one thing that I would say, though, is that if you are someone who is working and you're trying to get a better job, this is a great time to do it. It's a great time to update your resume. It's a great time to go out there and say, hey, are you looking for a good worker? I'm your woman, or I'm your man, or I'm your person. Because again, employers are so hungry for you right now. But big employers like the Amazons, they will not probably look at Sioux Falls because we don't have enough workers today to grow to fill the needs that they have as a big company. But there are some big companies though that are still coming here or that are looking at Sioux Falls, again, because of our workforce is so good. We work our tails off here in South Dakota. We do. We value hard work. We're loyal. We're trustworthy. We're well-educated. We're dependable. That's what we do here in South Dakota. That's what we do here in the Midwest. And companies know that. They know that. Sir, can I ask, are you looking for a different job or a better job?
No, I'm kind of in the construction business, and to me, Sioux Falls look like the construction part. We need builders to build houses and apartment buildings and stuff like that. I don't know if Sioux Falls could even have enough construction base to put up with the demands if they could even bring their own people here. Sioux Falls probably is maxed out right now.
One of the busiest professions in all of Sioux Falls, construction. You know, since I've been your mayor, we've broken the city's construction record 5 straight years. Boom, 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 and I think we're going to break it for a 6th straight year. As you said, there is just insatiable demand for construction. Construction, electrical, plumbing, heating, cooling, all these things. If you know how to use your hands, you're in high demand right now in Sioux Falls and in South Dakota. But the demand is insatiable. Another real challenge, not only affordable housing. I think folks can agree with that. When you're in a boom town like we are in Sioux Falls, one of the things that gets harder and harder to afford is housing. Because the cheaper properties, the older properties, they get purchased and they either get tore down or they get remodeled or refurbished. And then when they do that, then they charge higher rents. They do. And so, those folks that are in limited incomes, that are elderly, that are disabled, they really they get impacted the most in a negative way. And in Sioux Falls, here I'm your mayor, we are growing leaps and bounds. People are moving here. They want a place to live. They're paying more for it. But one of the things that is impacted is affordable housing. But no, I love. It's a good problem to have. We've cut our unemployment rate in half. So yeah, if you're looking for a better job, a better place to work, you want better pay, better benefits, now is a great time to go out and get it, because the job, the wages have been elevated, the benefits have been improved, and the workforce, in terms of where you work, the workplace, they're having to do things to keep you. They don't want to lose you. Employers don't want to lose you because it's hard to replace you. Thank you. Well, one thing that I will say is that certainly there are employers in town that will make that investment in someone who's got good personality, good work ethic, they're dependable. But yes, one of the challenges is that it's going to be harder for you to find a job in Sioux Falls. But there are some in town that are willing to make that investment in you because you're willing to make that investment in them and their customers. Proud of you. That's a tough question you just asked your mayor. And I could sense the the emotion in you as you ask that. Because, yeah, you want to take the day and you want to make a difference and you want to work. And I hope that it happens for you. Thank you. Yes.
Mayor Mike?
Yes.
Thank you for being a mayor of action and pushing to get things done. What advice would you give to the new mayor who wants to get things done, and how could advice for how to work with the city council?
Sure. Well, I do think that ultimately that'll probably be my legacy. I know that some of you think that, well, he's the event center mayor. And I'm proud of the event center, I am. Or he was the aquatic center mayor, or he was the road construction mayor, whatever it would be. I really just want to be the mayor that was probably known as, he got stuff done. He got stuff done. He said he did what he said he was going to do. That's what I want to probably be remembered by is, that guy got stuff done. And he got stuff done in government. Because I think that's one of the things that we're really struggling with all across America is that people don't believe that their government can actually get anything done anymore. Just all bickering and fighting and not getting anything done. Well, we certainly didn't always agree, the city council and the mayor, but everything that we set out to do, we got it done. For the most part, we did. Every challenge, we got it done. But it was hard because it wasn't always 100% agreement. There's 8 city councilors. Sometimes 8 voted yes with the mayor. Sometimes 5 did. Sometimes 4 did. 4, and then the mayor broke the tie and we moved forward. And there were sometimes, I think 2, where I vetoed it and then we only needed 3 city councilors to move it forward. And that's really hard because it can be very unpopular and you are going to create some animosity when you do that as a leader. But again, I was elected to get things done. At least that's what I thought I was elected for. I don't think you wanted me just to come on in, collect my paycheck, and then go home. I wanted to, tackle the things that as a city we needed to have tackled. My recommendation is this, and that is, first of all, if you just want everybody to like you or love you, don't run for mayor. Don't do it. Don't run for governor, don't run for president, don't run for mayor. Because if you want to ultimately lead and you actually want to get things done, you're going to make some people unhappy. And that includes city council. And so my recommendation is, you know what? Surely, communicate with everybody, collaborate as best you can, find common ground, but ultimately, move forward. Make a decision and move forward, address it, and then move on to the next thing. Because there's a bunch of next things out there that need to be addressed, need to be tackled. Crime, affordable housing, better public transportation, more potholes, more of this and more of that. But if you want everybody just to like you or love you, you're not going to get anything done either. And we've got plenty of examples of that all over I won't say anything more. We've got plenty of examples of people who just want to be liked. They want a high favorability rating, and they don't get anything done as public servants. I don't think that that's what we should do. And I don't think you should want that either. I don't. One of the, I know some people think that the event center was one of my toughest battles. It wasn't. The city administration building, no, that wasn't. The indoor pool, no, that wasn't. Pension reform, no, that wasn't. One of the toughest situations as your mayor was when I had to walk into a neighborhood, southwest part of town, and try to let them know why I believe that a super Walmart was really a good thing for our city, a good thing for their neighborhood. Boy, that was hard. I'd walk into garages filled with people, and they were looking at me, not with friendly looks. And they're going, Mayor, we don't want that big super Walmart in our backyard. But ultimately, I had to let them know why I believed it was the right thing to do. Boy, but that's really hard, knowing that those people are mad at you. They're disappointed in you. They don't want that. But ultimately, we did build that super Walmart there. And right now, it is known as kind of the hottest corner in all of the Midwest. It is just exploding. Those property values are going up. It is the place to live, the place to work, a place to play. Young people are getting jobs out there. Older people are getting, it just really has turned out to be really good. Now, not everybody's happy with it, but that is just an example of how hard it is to do things. Pastor Keith, the leadership here at Celebrate, they're making decisions that they believe are right for the Celebrate community as a whole. But oh boy, they're making some people unhappy too with some of the decisions that they're making. And that's what happens when you're in leadership. But it is not easy. Thank you for that tough question. Yes, thank you.
I have to believe that your term has been personally a journey for you. For 8 years, you've given your life to public service as our mayor. How would you say you're different today than you were 8 years ago when you were sworn in?
Well, first of all, please understand this. I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. I mean it. This 8 years has been incredible in so many ways. Again, it was a dream come true for me, and it was better than I could have ever imagined, even with the challenges that we've faced over the last 8 years. Yes, even with some people who really don't like me now. In fact, I hate saying it, but there's some who hate me. And again, I want to lift everybody up. I want to encourage them. I want to coach them. And there's some that because of my 8 years of service, no, they flat out hate me. That's hard. But I love it. I love this journey that I've been on, and I can never thank the people of Sioux Falls enough for allowing me this opportunity. One thing, though, that has happened is that you do get tougher and harder and colder. You do. My daughter Kylie, she's 29 now. She was a baby yesterday. Now she's 29 with a boy, a 2-year-old boy, running all over our house. But my daughter Kylie, 29, blessed to have her living in here in Sioux Falls. About a month and a half ago, Cindy, your first lady, my bride, we were talking to Kylie about kind of our plans, what we're planning. My daughter Kylie, who's really a beautiful, mature, smart young woman who just happens to be my daughter, she said, Dad, she goes, here's my wish. She goes, I hope this is part of the plan. I hope part of the plan is that you go from being Mayor Mike to Mike again. And I want you to be fun again, Dad. And, I still think I'm fun, but no, it's harder. And so that's why I want to serve again. But I do want to, I want to get warm again in my heart. I don't want the crust as thick. And I think that that's good for a public servant too. I think it is. I think that you don't want to just be in the battle for the sake of being in a battle. You want to believe in the cause and feel good about the people that you're rallying in front of and supporting them. And so I hope that happens, and it will. It will. I know that's part of the faith. Part of the faith. But it's been just a glorious journey. Boy, I've started to take stuff out. I've got boxes of memory file. It's called memory. I put stuff in my memory file, all the unique things that I've experienced, and I wouldn't share it for the world. Cindy, your first lady, my bride, she, not only is my daughter Kylie I think just wonderful for me. Cindy said this, and it's just, I haven't shared it much, but I'll share it with you, and I guess now I'm going to share it with all of Sioux Falls. Here's what Cindy said. We were talking about, term limits and how, I love this job and I'm term limited, and so I got to go do something different. Cindy said this. She goes, Mike, wouldn't it be great, though, if all jobs had term limits? I mean, all jobs, all of our jobs. What if we all had term limits on our jobs? What that would do is it would force us to get out of our comfort zone and go do something different. Learn something new. Meet new people. Take risks, make mistakes, and take these days that God has given us and really relish in something new and exciting and scary and maybe fun. But yeah, your first lady said that. What if all jobs had term limits? And she said that and I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, thank you. Look what you're doing to me, Celebrate Church. I love it. Thank you. How are we doing? How are we doing? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mayor Mike, I just want to thank you too for wonderful 8 years. I'm an old person, and a lot of old people don't like all these new things that are coming in, but
Yes,
I'm
change.
one that support everything. I think you've done a terrific job, and I've been one of your biggest fans, and I just want to thank you. But I would like to have you just kind of tell small-town Yankton boy that became the mayor of a huge city and what your dream was. And I don't know that everybody knows that story. I've kind of heard it from you. Yeah. I would like to hear you kind of tell.
You want me to cry?
I know you're a
All
very
right.
emotional guy. I love it.
Well, this is, try to be brief. I don't want to bore you. My mom and dad were divorced when I was in the 5th grade. My dad, he was a severe alcoholic. He started drinking when he was in Tripp, South Dakota, in high school. He drank a lot. He was a guy, you could walk into a room and he would engage everybody. He wanted to know their story, just like me. I want to know everybody's story, but he struggled with alcoholism. So my mom and dad were divorced when I was in the 5th grade. My mom wanted to save everybody, care for everybody. She was the head nurse at the Human Services Center. In the old days, it's called the State Hospital. The State Hospital. So she wanted to care for everybody. That's a place where, in fact, back in the 70s, the early 70s, sadly, people that really needed care, they were kind of institutionalized. So my mom wanted to save everybody and care for them and fix their issues. And So that's what I've got going through my genes, these German-Russian genes. My dad wants to meet everybody, my mom wants to save everybody, and that's created Mayor Mike. Well, anyways, my folks were divorced when I was in the 5th grade. I was the oldest of 4 kids, and I was struggling. Why me? Why my family? You know, what? Being a divorced mom in the early 70s, you were a pariah. You were. You were. And, you know, we had no money. My dad couldn't support us because he was struggling. I had a helmet head for a haircut. My mom would cut my hair. It looked like I had a helmet head on. My grandma sewed my, you know, holy underwear, holy socks. And my mom put red velvet fringe on the bottom of our jeans so that they'd last longer. We looked really funny. But anyways, you know, why me? Why is it happening to my family? I had bad buck teeth, all this. So I'm struggling. And in the 6th grade, there was a speech contest that was sponsored by Modern Woodmen of America. Modern Woodmen of America. And it was a speech contest on leadership and government and making a difference and all that stuff. Well, my mom helped me with that speech contest. Guess who won? I won. I've still got I should have brought it. I've got the trophy. It's at my home. And when I won that speech contest, maybe I can be somebody. Maybe I can be successful. Maybe I can do things like the other kids are doing with the other families. And from there, I went on to get involved in student government and was the president of my junior class at Yankton, my senior class at Yankton. I went on to South Dakota State University, and I was the vice president of the university when I was a sophomore. And then, yeah, I wanted to pursue this dream, but I was going to wait until Kylie left the nest, because my dad wasn't around much when I was growing up, and I was not going to do that to Kylie. So once Kylie graduated from Washington and went to St. John's, St. Ben's, then I quit my job at Premier, and I spent a full year to try to become your mayor. And thank goodness you folks were kind enough to let me do it. And so that's the story, and it's been wonderful. And again, I just cannot thank you enough for trusting me and just encouraging me and lifting me up, and it's been a real blessing. And Pastor Keith, you know, he's been another one who right when you kind of need it the most, these people know. They'll send you a card. They'll give you a call. They'll ask you out for coffee, and they'll say, How are you doing, Mayor? Or how are you doing, Mike? And I think the thing that folks don't understand is that, you know, I want to be as confident as I can be, as motivating as I can be. I want to lead for you at the highest level. You're putting all that trust and confidence in me. But every now and then I could use a little boost too. And that's what you folks have done for me. So thank you. Good job. Thank you. Yeah, it's a real story. And I still have the contraption that my mom used to cut my hair. It was a plastic thing, and it had razor blades in it. And so what it would do is it would go on the outside, it'd go, and then she would cut my hair like this. So it looked like I had a helmet on my head. But yeah, kids call me Helmet Head because of it. Thank you. Others? Yes, thank you. How are we doing for time? I don't even know how we're doing for time. Oh, thank you. Great job. I'm having fun. Thank you. And you ask me anything. We're young people, come on. Or younger people, sorry. You're all young. Sorry. You're all young. Younger people, sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say I admire your humility and your heart. It's evident that you're a great guy, and I'm proud that you were our governor.
Mayor.
One of the proudest, or mayor.
Thank you.
One of the proudest moments, I guess, that of the past few years that I've seen is when on the snow plows, when all the plows were painted up with Jesus this,
Yes.
Jesus that. And I guess my question would be is how hard is it to bring God and Christ into the public like that?
I think we're in a part of the country where people understand that faith is important, and it doesn't mean that you have to be Lutheran or Catholic or congregational or whatever. You can be Buddhist, you can be Muslim, you can be Christian, you can be this, you can be that. But faith is important for people here. And so, you know, it's part of our mantra. It's what's important. We lead our city council meetings with a invocation, with a prayer. We do. And I say that right from the beginning. In the city of Sioux Falls, we start our city council meetings with an invocation. Okay? So I think that that's important. And I think people respect that. They do. There were some people who, I took some heat when I said, no, we're going to allow things like that. But we're respectful. We're respectful. We're all different. We all celebrate our faith in a different way. And in fact, as you read the Bible, it says one of the things that is important is that you don't just go out there and blab, hey, I went to church today. One of the things that I've found is some of those, there you go, exactly. One of the things that I've found is that some of the people that are out there saying, hey, I went to church today, what did they do after they left the church? Yeah, that's right. Did they go out and start attacking their fellow man or their or woman or what stewardship is more than just going to church. Being a good Christian is more than, or being a faith-based person is more than just going to, it's sharing your time. It's sharing your talent. It's sharing your treasure. And it is lifting people up versus trying to bring them down. One of the things that I've struggled with the most as your mayor, and I know other leaders, is why do people take these days and why do they try to just automatically hurt people, or they denigrate them, or they say just really hurtful things and mean-spirited? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they have to do it in campaigns. I don't understand why they have to do it just in their day-to-day life. I don't get it. But one of the things that was taught to me early on is, well, Mayor, you got to put yourself in their shoes. Then you'd understand. Okay, but it's hard. It's hard to pray for people when they're saying such mean, hurtful, spiteful things. But it is part of our journey too. Pray for others, even if they're saying hurtful things. And so, thank you. No, I think that that's something that we really do care about, not only in the Midwest, we care about it here in Sioux Falls. Yeah, thank you. And those plows, they work. They do. They work. Thank you. Keep it going. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor. I'm not totally experienced of all the things that you've done for Sioux Falls, as I'm kind of new to Sioux Falls.
Welcome.
But I still appreciate how you've applied your Christian faith of being a public servant. And I've even received some blessing for some of the things that the city has offered. I was homeless and jobless and not counted on the unemployment rate, because the unemployment rate only counts those that are collecting an unemployment check. And you see them living down at the Dudley and the Mission and behind the mall.
St. Francis.
They're all over town.
Yep.
And what I'm getting at here is this. These jobs that are needing people to fill the positions that they have, I know that not all of them, but a fair number of them, require a resume of experience that these guys don't have.
Yep.
And what I'm looking at is the idea of the promotion of free training to get these homeless people on these jobs.
And I will tell you, that is actually happening in our city. It is. One of the things that I was interested, my wife and I, we, the St. Francis House in Sioux Falls, we've been part of that ministry since we moved back to South Dakota. One of the things that's interesting is that, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, we were there serving one night, and there was a group of women there at the St. Francis House, and I went and engaged them, just like my dad taught me to do and like my mom taught me to do. And I'm engaging these wonderful people, and all of a sudden we got done with a meal, and two of the women came up and said, "Mayor, I don't know if you're aware, but all of us are felons. We're all felons." And they said, "Mayor, I don't know if you're aware, but you have a felon-friendly city. Felon-friendly city." And the reason it was felon-friendly is that people had gotten into trouble, but they needed work, or they wanted to repair their lives. They wanted to rebuild their lives. They wanted to get back into being more productive and resourceful with the days that God has given them. And there are employers in our town that are willing to train, willing to invest, willing to give second chances to people that have made mistakes in their lives. And so, yeah, being a felon-friendly city, I thought that was just fine. I thought that was, really good. And I commend you for, first of all, we love having you in Sioux Falls. We need more people willing to work. But yeah, why not lift people up? Why not train them? And that is one of the things that employers are learning to do, is that now, if they find someone who is resourceful, who is ready to work, ready to commit, they will now train them in order to get the good employees that they want. So yeah, good job. Thank you. Yeah.
If we try to train the employees, how is it good for me if they can if for example I want to work at a pizza ranch and I have in the wheelchair, can they still train me?
Yes, and there are employers in town that will work to train you. That what they do is they take good people and they try to find their strength. And then they try to take that strength and then use it to make their business better. And I think that's one of the things that I've tried to do as your mayor. I tried to identify what are our strengths in our town, what are the strengths of our people, what are the strengths of our community, and then how can we use that to make us better. And ultimately, that's what I know we've done over the last 8 years. I know we have, and I'm going to keep cheering on this community long after I'm done being the mayor. I've got 4 weeks to go, and I'll be cheering us on for the next 4 weeks, but I guarantee you I'll be cheering us on even after that 4-week period of time, because I love this city. It's been an honor and a blessing to serve, with all of you. And I want to thank the people at Celebrate Church, Pastor Keith, and the folks here for letting me come here today. What a great way for me to, I guess, celebrate my last listening and learning session as your mayor. 96 times, Bradley. 96 times I've done it as your mayor, and then I did it weekly when I was trying to become your mayor. So I don't know how many times I've done this listening and learning session, but what a great way for me to end it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mike, thank you for listening and learning. But that's just incredible. But I'd say more so, thank you for your heart.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your compassion, your service, your talents, your time that you've given us, you've given the city here. And probably most of all, thank you just for your faith. Thank you for following your faith, and clearly a man who's following after God's own heart. And so we're thankful for that. I see that your book is full there, and so we want to address that. And we've got a little gift for you as you go out. I don't know where it is. It's right here.
Oh, my gosh.
Here it is. And so you can start over again. You can start filling this one up just like you did the other one, but it says...
it's got my name on it.
You got your name on it, so we'd love to give you that on behalf of Celebrate. And we'd also like to pray for you.
Thank you.
Just pray for you as you go forward. So let's all bow. And Father, we just thank you for Mayor Mike, and we just thank you what he's meant to this city and just how he has followed his faith along the way. And it's very evident, it's very clear. And just thank you for that compassion and that heart. And we just pray for him as he goes forward. He takes some time. He gets absolutely the rest that he needs to get. And after 8 years of service here, he takes a little bit of breather and he contemplates what's next for him. And I know he's going to follow your plan for him. And I just ask you to bless him, whatever that is along the way. You bless him, you guide him, you give him wisdom as he moves along with along with his wife, that they figure out what's next for them. And again, we thank you for who he's been to the city and who he's been for Celebrate Church as well. And all God's people said,
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Bless you. And Kylie's going to love this. It says Mike Huether. Not me. I love it. I love it. Cindy will love it. Bless you all. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey too. You bet. Take care.